In the summer of 2022, I went on an epic landscape photography adventure to the Italian Dolomites. We visited many beautiful famous locations, got some fantastic light and brought home some incredible landscape photos. This will be the biggest photography video I've ever released on YouTube, so I hope you're ready, grab some popcorn, lean back, enjoy the video, and let's start in the iconic Seceda mountains. So, after 5 years, I'm back in the Dolomites, and right now we're photographing here at epic Seceda. It's crazy to think about. It's like 5 years since I was here last. So if you have seen my only video from here, then yeah, that's 5 years ago. How time flies. And this is the second day of our workshop. So yesterday we photographed a couple of churches, Santa Maddalena and San Giovanni, two classic churches. I have never photographed Santa Maddalena before, and I'm not entirely sure that the shot turned out super good. I think it turned out decently well, but the shot at San Giovanni, that single lone church on the field, and then having those spiky mountains in the background, we just had absolutely sick light on that. Very stripy light, and then orange light at sunset. This morning we photographed a location I haven't photographed before, also becoming quite a famous location with some root system in front and then some background mountains. Looks really, really cool also. And now we have come all the way over to Seceda and photographing here in this direction. So right now we're just shooting Seceda, and it's just an absolutely epic location. As you can see here, these mountains are just so iconic also for us landscape photographers. And right now it's summer, so we have all these lupins and other flowers, trying to incorporate them in the foreground. Looks really nice with a wide angle, shooting at around 24, 28-ish millimeter. So I have a composition that looks something like this here. And then it's just about catching the scene when the light is interesting. As you can see here and see out here, I've decided to not include this ridge over here. So I'm just cropping it here. And then I have just free over here, and it just looks so good, so simple, yet also very epic. From time to time, when the light changes, I'm just catching a lot of different shots, and maybe in that way I'm going to put them together in Photoshop somehow. Preferably, we want to have shadow in the foreground, so we don't get the shadow from the camera and ourselves. And we're also going to focus stack it. So maybe 1 or 2 shots for the foreground and then 1 for the background. I also got a photo from the composition Sam found where the lupins were a bit better and undisturbed by other flowers, and I gotta admit I prefer that one to the one I explained. The techniques and thoughts are exactly the same, but I had to make a few more exposures for the focus stack to be complete. Since this is the biggest landscape photography video I've ever released on YouTube, I'll highly appreciate a like and any comment you can come up with. It helps spreading the video to more of my subscribers and new audience on YouTube. This area is also used by paragliders who use the soft updrift from the winds around the mountains to ride through the air. They probably saw us take photos and were nice enough to work as subjects in our scenes. So we have completely lost the light on the mountains here we were shooting in the background, but it's being obscured by a cloud in this direction here. So right now we have these ridiculous sun rays that are hitting some rain. Right now I'm just trying to compose the photo with this little road here in mind and these different shapes between the dark greens and the light greens. On top of that, got a lot of like long lens shots of the background out here. Also looks fantastic. Even though we are not getting light on the main mountain, but I actually think we got some really good photos there. Anyway, we are getting something completely, something we didn't count on, and that is so good. Definitely some of my favorite photos are those you don't count on, those you don't plan, they just happen. Absolutely epic. Besides these beautiful sunbeam photos, we also got some long lens photos against the distant mountains from the top of Seceda. How the light caressed the mountains in this photo is just gorgeous. I also really like this shot where the shadow in the middle of the photo created by the mountains reminds me of a dinosaur. The photos I present in this video are all available to view in high resolution and for purchase as prints on my homepage, so be sure to check them out afterwards. What made this workshop extra special is we used the different alpine refugios as accommodation. It's logistically impossible to stay in the same hotel each night if you want to cover as big an area as we did, so it was only natural to get up into the mountains and benefit from the different refugios. This gave us a huge advantage when photographing both sunrise, sunset and during the night if the sky was clear. Getting up into the mountains, we of course used many of the different cable cars and ski lifts. Just as in this example where we went to the cozy Refugio Lagazuoi. I'm sorry for my Italian, it's really bad. A refugio located high in the Alps, 2,752 meters above sea level, and is a historical site with several different cave systems from World War I. During the afternoon and evening we generally photographed with a long lens to capture how the sun threw its changing light from white to golden onto the opposite mountains. So it is now day 4 or 3 of the workshop, and the group has split up a little bit. Some are shooting in that direction, some are shooting in that direction, and some are shooting in that direction. Everybody just going around having really fun. Right now, Monica insisted that she wanted an epic selfie, and of course, she should get that. So she ran all the way here along the trail, all the way back to our refugio, which is over there. And she's standing on this ledge right here. Not dangerous. And then we have the beautiful mountains here in the background. So you can see right now I'm shooting with the interval timer on, just to get the shots. And the composition looks like this. So ISO 100, f11 to get everything sharp. And right now that gives me a shutter speed of 1/8 of a second. From time to time I put on the polarizing filter. It works really, really well. And that's it. When I'm in mountain areas like this, I always try to find locations where I can have some kind of foreground, so it creates that depth. A little person standing there to create a little bit of scale. Obviously a person standing this close to us, and then we have the background mountains. Doesn't really provide the real scale, but it gives a sense of how big the landscape is. Because if you're just shooting straight onto the landscape, yes, you get beautifully and aesthetically photos, but having that little person, it adds so much drama and depth and dynamics to the photos. This type of light, morning light, alpine glow, and then a little person there in front, it just looks so, so good. If you struggle with composition in landscape photography, be sure to get my ebook Landscape Composition, which covers exactly that topic. Minimal text and loads of photos to exemplify my points. If you're in doubt about whether you want it, you can try the free light version first. I cover topics such as the use of light and shadow, depth, balance, visual flow, scale, and many more. The ebook ends with a chapter where I summarize all the compositional tools I've presented throughout the book. There is a link in the description of the video for both the light, full version, and follow-up Landscape Composition 2. So I've now come to another location which also looks... It is the Alps after all. I'm going to go into the scene myself, stand on the edge, and then I'm just going to put my camera on intervalometer, and then it's going to get the shot with myself in the scene where I'm standing like right here, and then the composition is these mountains right there. On the way down from Lagazuoi, I captured this quite nice and atmospheric photo of Cinque Torri. This is a location we would visit a few days later, but first we were on to the arguably most impressive and epic location of the tour, the famous Tre Cime di Lavaredo. The three peaks of Lavaredo, a location I also visited 5 years ago. If you want logistics on this place, be sure to watch that video afterwards. So one thing you guys out there don't get to suffer through is hiking all the way up at the top of these mountains. it's so hard each time. So we are at Tre Cime di Lavaredo. Came from over here, went all the way up here, and last time I was here we actually just stayed down here and photographed the mountains up here, but this time we went all the way up here too. And that was some hike. The main reason why we have come all the way up here to the top is that there's just like a perfect leading line leading down onto Tre Cime. So if we go over here, you can see here this trail saddle thingy leading up here. and then up to the mountains. Right now the weather doesn't look too promising. We will definitely get some kind of sunset. However, we don't have a cloud in the sky besides those contrails up here, and they're moving away, and we don't want them anyway. So we will probably get some beautiful orange colors on the mountain, and that's probably about it. We are like 2,500-ish, maybe a little bit more meters above sea level, so we can definitely also feel the lack of oxygen up here. But whoa, it's beautiful. And also the peaks over here looks gorgeous, and this entire area over here also absolutely beautiful. On the way back to the refugio, we stopped by the little church and did some Milky Way photography. So it is morning after 5 hours of sleep. We are back out again, and we have come to a location I also was at 5 years ago, but I had to shoot in like a little bit, quite a lot out of the golden hour. So now we try again for sunrise, and hopefully we'll get some light to light up these beautiful mountains. Back then I had Sophie pose up here. Now it's my turn. As I'm running the workshop, I get to be the mountain goat for the most part. But this place is just absolutely beyond epic. I think that these mountains over here are probably some of my favorite mountains of all time. But yeah, I'm heading out this small trail here. I hope you appreciate all the work. Like, it was so hard getting out on this hike this morning. So in regard to settings, I have it on my intervalometer again. Aperture priority, so the shutter speed changes as the light changes. I have it on ISO 100. Here in the beginning it gives me a shutter speed of around a second, but it will change fast as the light changes. And then f16, shooting on my Tamron 28-200 at around 60 millimeter. And that ought to do the job. Like, this place is not for the faint of heart. You should not suffer from being afraid of heights. Right here, that's for sure. But oh, it's worth it. this photo to be an upgrade to what I caught 5 years ago, but I would definitely have preferred some low-hanging clouds to separate the foreground from the background and add that extra interest of being far up into the clouds. I wouldn't have minded a bit of interest in the sky either. Sadly, controlling the weather is not one of my abilities. So the sun has now risen, as you can see, and I've come to the other side of the mountain, and there's so much haze in the air, so much moisture. So I'm just going to get one more shot of this absolutely epic scene with Tre Cime right here. Then I will go down and post right here. Now the only downside is, as you can see, I'm just in my full dark jacket. So in this particular case, it would have been nice to have a brighter jacket, but it is what it is. Settings wise, f16, ISO 100, aperture priority gives me a shutter speed of 1/25th of a second. And I'm also here using the intervalometer because I'm walking into the scene. So yeah, that's really it. Epic shot. Whew. About time to get back and get some breakfast. As with the previous photo, I would have preferred something other than a completely clear sky, and as mentioned in this case, a white jacket would definitely make me stand out more. I also got this photo at 141mm with some distant hikers. Here you can really see the scale of a mountain area like this. If you want to improve your photography editing, be sure to enroll in my huge post-processing course, Photoshop for Landscape Photographers. Here I teach you how I edit my photos. I teach you how to use the editing software and the different techniques I use to make my photos pop and stand out, while at the same time keep that personal touch so that I feel connected to my art. The point is, I give you a ton of tools that you can use to edit either as I do, or for you to find your own path and preferences in post-processing. A huge thank you to all of you who've enrolled already. It means a lot you enjoy the course, so thank you. There is a link in the description of the video to enroll in the course and a coupon code to save some money. So after this morning's shoot, we are heading from Refugio Auronzo, and then we are going to another refugio which is all the way on the other side here of this bank. And as you can see, walking on this upper trail, there's also a lower trail, but by walking on the lower trail you lose some altitude, so you have to walk back up again later. And Refugio Auronzo is located basically on the other side of Tre Cime. So right now we have been walking for an hour and 15 minutes, and we're bringing like all our camera gear and whatever stuff we need for one night at that other refugio. But wow, this is hard. We're working for it, but now is the time where I actually get to a location here in Tre Cime that I haven't been to before. So I'm quite excited about that. I hope we'll get some Milky Way tonight and some beautiful sunset and sunrise. I'm so tired after this morning. That hike we did this morning, it was way harder than I remembered, but it seems the photos turned out really well. So we made it all the way out here to arguably the most beautiful shot of the Tre Cime. And right now we have some gorgeous clouds that kind of come in between the peaks. They look really, really epic. The light is not really in golden hour yet, but it is so low to the horizon that it still looks pretty good. I've spent the past half hour, 45 minutes just to walk around the area and scout it, because this place is just ridiculous. So obviously we have Tre Cime up here, and then we have a peak over here, not sure what it's called. Then we have the Refugio here, a little abbey up here, and we have some caverns up here, caves, and all these up here and over here, and the stones down here, all things that you can use in different compositions. So I bet that when we actually start to go into the golden hour, I'm going to be a little bit frantic and running around in many different places, because yeah, obviously you want to catch them all, and I don't want to just, like, you know, focus on one photo, because when you have a candy shop of landscape photography like this, then obviously I want to get the most out of it. After all, we did hike 2.5 hours with all our luggage and camera gear to get all the way out here. So definitely going to use this to my advantage. And those clouds right now look ridiculous. Although I like this photo, I got this one from a slightly different perspective a little bit later. The light was simply just much better and beneficial to the scene. And by zooming in, I got this photo that really shows the immense size of these peaks. Just look at how small those very distant hikers walking along the foot of the mountain are. Wow! So right now I have come up onto this ridge here behind me. You can see we have the Refugio down here, sunset over here, and then we have Sam standing out here posing for me. And I have a composition that looks like this here. And then I have all the layers here in the background of the mountains. It looks absolutely stunning. So it's yet again one of those shots where I really use perspective compression to my benefit. And as you can see, I'm filming Sam walking right down there. So I've come really far back up onto the ridge so I can get the perspective into a valley. And then I'm zooming into, right now it's 135mm, and it just gives this absurd huge scale to the photo. Yeah, getting blinded by the sunset. It's actually happening really fast right now. So we have Tre Cime over there and Refugio. So yeah, here are some more shots. It looks epic, beyond epic. I didn't really get anything more special in the golden hour, but into the blue hour we walked up the hill and got this photo of the Refugio with Monte Bertano in the background to the left and Tre Cime to the right. During night we went to do some Milky Way photography and managed to capture the Milky Way above Tre Cime before clouds moved in.